Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this.
Tomorrow, 5 Eastern Time, the Purdue Boilermakers. We will have Purdue's Fletcher Lawyer on the show shortly. He tied a career high with 27 points as Purdue beats Tennessee 71 to 67. Matt McCall, your immediate reaction to this game is?
Well, I think Purdue is the best team in the country. I've always thought, going even into the season, it was Kansas was 1A, Purdue was 1B. Everyone wants to talk about what happened in the NCAA tournament, and they lost in the first round to Fairleigh Dickinson, but they also were ranked number one in the country for 7 straight weeks last season. And they're the best team. They got the best player in the country back. They're playing like the best team in the country right now. And they went through a whole offseason of everyone telling them what they did wrong. Fletcher Lawyer, he was making just toughness plays, effort plays, diving on the floor for loose balls, and he was kind of flexing on himself at times this game. I thought there were some really bad offensive possessions down the stretch of this game by Tennessee. I think Tennessee is really, really good. I think Dalton Connect is absolutely outstanding. I think Dalton Connect is one of the best players in the SEC, but I think Purdue is the best team in the country, and I think they showed it tonight, and we'll see what happens in the second half of this game in terms of Kansas and Marquette and who matches up with Purdue tomorrow night. But, man, they were outstanding, and Tennessee's a really, really good basketball team.
Mack?
Yeah, he had two teams that play with a lot of toughness and a lot of grit. And I know the game was especially ugly in the second half there for a period of 6 to 10 minutes where no one scored. Everybody was getting fouled. Every whistle was being blown. But, I give Purdue credit. They played a large majority of the second half without Zach Edey, and they didn't miss a beat. I know Tennessee, behind Jordan Gainey, hit a couple threes to tie it, but they didn't lose their poise. And by the time Edey came back in the last TV timeout, I think under 4, Purdue had recaptured the lead and sort of held it all the way down the stretch. So, Fletcher obviously played extremely well. They get open shots. I mean, between Braden Smith getting in the lane, between all the attention that Zach gets with basketball around the post, I think the biggest key to me is going to be Purdue's ability to guard on the perimeter. We talked about that last year with FDU being able to sort of exploit their foot speed. Matt's going to be a man-to-man coach, live or die. And, you've got Zach in there to sort of erase some mistakes. But be interesting. They got him in foul trouble tonight, and they weren't able to take advantage of it and, to win the game. But give Purdue credit. They were able to sort of hold serve while he was out.
Matt McCall. There were 51 fouls called and 78 free throws. Thoughts?
So you're putting me on spot with the officials right now? You don't want to go to Coach Mack for that? You're going to come to me for that on the officials, on the referees?
I'm giving each.
No. So I'll say this.
Yep.
So I'll say this in terms of officiating, and Coach Mack can attest to this. You get the commissioner officials always comes into practice probably in late September, early October, and these are the adjustments. These are the points of emphasis this year. These are the rule changes. This is what we're doing. But referees are just like basketball players. They're just like coaches. At the end of the day, they ref the game on feel. And if you have a first half that they feel is really, really physical and they didn't call many fouls in the first half, there's going to be more fouls called in the second half. That's exactly because they're making adjustments just like coaches are making adjustments, just like players are making adjustments. So I didn't like how the game was officiated in terms of, disrupting the flow, but that's what they're supposed to do. And that's what happens. I mean, refs are the same. They ref these games on feel. They're human beings. They're not robots. And, at the end of the day, that's the frustrating part as a college basketball fan. It's a frustrating part as a coach. they're human beings, and if the game's physical in the first half, why make it not physical in the second half? That's my biggest thing.
And here's the deal. I've played against Tennessee, and I've played against Purdue. At least coaching both. They both foul. They foul damn near every possession. But they're good enough in terms of how they do it that they legally foul. They body check you. They bump you. They bump cutters. They're physical. And I think the referees get tired of calling it. They hear the cat calls from the stands. They hear people bitching about, let them play, and they normally do. But I think that tonight, for whatever reason, probably what Matt talked about in the first half, they were letting so much stuff go that they decided to blow a little bit tighter in the second half. But I think if you really watch each one of those calls, I thought a lot of them were pretty good calls. But you don't see officials continue to call because they get tired of it. They get tired of hearing coaches bitch. They get tired of fans complain. And so they let them go a little bit. They didn't tonight. And both Tennessee and Purdue have great reputations in terms of how they play defensively. They play physical. They legally foul. And they do as well as anybody in the country. And that's why they're two of the best defensive teams in the country.
Yeah, here's my broader take. Okay, officiating aside, I think we would all agree that watching a game with 78 free throws is not enjoyable. It's not enjoyable for anybody. It's hard to officiate Tennessee. Zach Edey's the hardest player to officiate in the country. I don't envy officials. I don't think any of us envy officials. But for that to be the best college basketball match for the season to date, and for the product to be 51 combined fouls and 78 free throws, that falls on everybody involved in the game. And that brings up a bigger point, okay? Because it was a dumpster fire. That game was a dumpster fire of a watch. The bigger point is, can Tennessee win 6 games in a row in March Madness by playing this way? My thought to that is no. They can't. Again, they have trouble scoring. Where did Dalton Knecht go in this game, guys? Where did he go? He disappeared in the second half.
Yeah, he turned the ball over a little bit. He besides that 3 at the end of the game that sort of I don't want to say it was inconsequential. It got him within 1 possession, but he didn't play very well in the second half, and he didn't play as much either. I think Coach Barnes didn't necessarily put him on the floor because he wasn't playing very well. But that's going to be Tennessee style, though, John. They're going to try to win the game 48-44 in the first and second and third round of the NCAA tournament. I just don't think they have the ability to score against really, really, really good teams. And at some point, that's going to cost them because there are some teams that you can slow them down, but you're not going to hold them to 45 or 50. And we just watched 2 of them that are at halftime right now.
Right.
Yeah, I think too. Zakai Ziegler looked more like himself tonight. They went on the road and beat Wisconsin, and it wasn't even close. I mean, they went up there, and the game was really not even close. They handled their business, and Ziegler kind of was unsure of himself. You could still see. Tonight, I didn't think that. I thought Zakai Ziegler looked like, all right, I'm back. I'm not worried about my knee. I'm going out here, and I'm playing at a high level. And Dalton Knecht's new. How do we fit him in? He's had great games, but there's an adjustment period that goes through that as well. So can they make a run to the Final Four? I think it's way too early to tell. Do I think they're really, really good? Yes. Do I think Zakai Ziegler is back? And I think that's really important for this team? Yes. So I think we got to wait and see how that plays out. But don't discredit what they did on the road, versus Wisconsin. That was super impressive because that's a tough place to play.
They win a lot of games. Their formula can be successful. And to your point, Knecht and gaining, and now with Ziegler getting into his rhythm, you see the options with them. You see the options with them. And tonight, let's face it, what you guys are right with the fouls that it's hard to officiate that. I think the biggest issue that was brought up on the broadcast and that's been brought up all night is that the first 8 minutes of the game compared to the final 30 and change, there was zero consistency. If you're gonna set the tone, like, keep it that way. You can't be inconsistent in how you officiate a game, right?
Yeah, 1,000%. And I would say, and I'll ask Coach Mack this, in terms of Gainey's so talented offensively. It's kind of like Rick Barnes is so, his mentality is on the defensive end of the floor. And I think sometimes Gainey's not in there because does he think he's a liability on defense? But like he stretches the floor, he spaces the floor. Like he's so talented. I think Barnes is probably battling that at some point too. But the inconsistency of the officiating is something as a coach that you just bang your head up at times.
Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.